Now, we've often been accused on Off the Bar of looking backwards too often instead of forwards, but there's nothing wrong with nostalgia when you're talking about a true footballing great, someone for whom the word legend really isn't good enough. Osvaldo Ardiles inspired Argentina to their World Cup win in 1978, and just a few weeks later, cool as you like, he turned up at the gates of White Hart Lane to help make Spurs the most exciting team of that era and leave a legacy which still permeates the club today. So Ozzy is here alongside Tony Gale, that hasn't happened often, and our simpering redhead Alan Bentley of Privateline88.com is also here, as is Anne-Marie, who will take us through the tipping table and explain all that entails. And we've got more from the F2 freestylers, fantastic ball skills which maybe only Ozzy could seek to emulate, and he'll try later on. And of course, we have the fixtures, and this show is never thrown together. Why else would we wait until Spurs host Newcastle to entertain the man who managed both and played for one? Ozzy's views on Spurs versus Newcastle coming up. Now, Rafa is a manager who's not having the best of times at present. Will Wigan present Chelsea with another banana skin? Harry continues his multi-million-pound bet on surviving the drop with a trip to Swansea, while Manchester City will be looking to claw back some of United's 9-point lead with a win at Southampton. On Sunday, the Claret and Blue derby sees Aston Villa looking to prove the corner has been turned, while newly fit Andy Carroll has other points to prove for West Ham. United meet Everton in the game of the weekend in a real test of the Toffees Champions League credentials. While on Monday, Liverpool, held by City last week, host West Brom, one of this season's surprise specialists. So, cushions plumped, just for men applied. Let's crack on with the first fixture of the week, Chelsea against Wigan.
Got to be a Chelsea win for me, Matt. I mean, Wigan, a side that are still in trouble. Still going to be in those relegation places all the way to the end of the season. Normally pull themselves out, but I think this is the season that Wigan are going to go. And obviously, it will start here with a result against Chelsea. Chelsea were poor last week. I mean, any pretensions of trying to win the Premier League, totally blown out the window. Keep losing games to not very good sides in Newcastle for me. But Chelsea, too good for Wigan. Has to be a Chelsea win.
Yeah, Chelsea must have made your life a little difficult this season.
In what respect?
Well, it's very difficult to work out what's happening.
No, I don't think so, especially in this game. I mean, Roberto Martinez, to me, living proof that he can fool all of the people all of the time. Who says he's a good manager? I don't get it. I think they'll go down this year. I have to say that Chelsea and Benitez still favourite to be the next manager to go. A poisonous atmosphere at Stamford Bridge, but they'll have far too much for this Wigan side, and I think Chelsea to win comfortably.
You can't accuse Bentley of sitting on the fence, can you?
Now, the trouble is he went for an agony aunt job this week and he didn't get it for some reason. I can't think why not. Now then, Auntie Alan, Norwich City against Fulham. What do you think? Well,
this is another one, isn't it, with Fulham, and which team do you get? We've seen them in recent weeks against Man U. The first game, they were non-triers, if you like, on a racing term. Last week they played OK. Tough one to call. Norwich have won none in 8. I think it's a tough one to call. It's a leave-alone game for me. If I had to pick a team, perhaps Norwich, but a leave-alone game.
I'll go with the Norwich win in this one, Matt. I know it's my old side, Fulham, but yes, they played well against Man United. The difference was they're playing at home. They're playing away at Norwich. Norwich are good at home as well. Anyone who goes there, you know, when I'm doing the commentaries, it's a cracking atmosphere. Chris will target this game. This is a three-pointer for Norwich, and he'll think, get this one out of the way. There's a little bit of a cushion. I'm going to go for a Norwich win.
All right, Stoke against Reading. This surely will not be like watching Brazil.
Well, I was at Reading last week. They beat Sunderland, and they're getting results at the moment, but I can't work out how. Adam Lafondra's probably your man, what the reason that they are, but can't work out how they're getting results. And Stoke at home normally are good. That hasn't rung true this season. Stoke are trying to change their style a little bit, trying to play a little bit more football, which doesn't really suit. As soon as Tony has a couple of bad results, he reverts to type. They'll go direct against Reading, and they'll have far too much for him.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, Reading, it's the remake of Escape to Victory, isn't it, in recent weeks, the way they've been pulling these results out the fire. Won't happen this weekend. Stoke all day long.
Sunderland against Arsenal, then.
Well, again, being at that Reading game last week, Reading beat Sunderland, and again, Sunderland with the points on the table they got, I can't make it out. That means for me it's a poor Premier League, that Sunderland are clear of the relegation issue, yet are so poor a side. Against Arsenal, I feel Arsenal will get it down, they'll play around them. Sunderland ain't got quite enough to get in their face and make it difficult for them. Falling betwixt and between with their styles for me. Arsenal win.
Well, I disagree. I mean, Arsenal, how can you be backing them at odds on away from home? They've won 4. And if any team has had a problem with the midweek fixtures, more or less every Arsenal player played in the internationals in midweek. They've got to come back. They lost in the Cup at Sunderland last year, where Sunderland really got about them. I know they beat them in the league. I'm not saying Sunderland will win, but I don't think they'll lose, let's put it that way.
Having said that, I was at the England game, Matt, against Brazil, and an Arsenal player, Jack Wilshere, middle of midfield, Theo Walcott wide on the right, probably our two best players on the evening. Wilshere was outstanding. We've got to start building things around Jack Wilshere, outstanding midfield player, probably the only one who can run with the ball in the country in an English midfield system. Outstanding player. Another reason why you're going to be wrong at the weekend.
OK, that's part one of the fixtures done. As we mentioned, the star of Escape to Victory is with us. I don't mean Sylvester Stallone. That's coming up right now. Well, back in 1978, I was about 5, and Argentina won the World Cup. And I watched the television. I was allowed to stay up late and see the man with us today perform marvels on a football pitch. Well, on a bed of confetti, really. And it's an honour to see Osvaldo Ardiles in the pub with us today. Welcome, Ozzy.
Thank you very much for your introduction.
It's well meant, because there aren't too many people who've won a World Cup that you meet. It's like meeting men who've walked on the moon.
Well, again, thank you very much. It was a great time at the time, 1978, one of the most important years in my life. We won the World Cup, and suddenly straight away we come to England with Ricky, so it was a great adventure. I'm still here.
And it's amazing that you do that. I mean, it's the ultimate feat for a footballer to win a World Cup, and 2 weeks later you go and ruin it all by going to Spurs.
It was a difficult moment, to be perfectly honest, because the team was coming from the second division to the first. It was not a particularly good team. Of course, we were not going to be fighting for honors or anything like that. It was kind of more survival. So we did that. But it was very tough at the beginning, yes.
Was it always going to be Tottenham, or were they the ones that took a chance and came over and you know, paid the money?
It was complete by chance, to be perfectly honest. After the World Cup, I wanted to play in Europe, but I was thinking that I was going to play in Italy or France, for example, or Spain. Never crossed my mind England. But suddenly Keith Wilkins, our manager in Tottenham, he was in Buenos Aires, and he talked to me, and also, this is the contract in the table. Are you going to sign it or not? Oh, and Ricky is coming if possible as well. So immediately I signed, and then I started to know about London, about England, about London, about Tottenham, about the football in England, because I knew a lot about the national team, but apart from that, Liverpool maybe, but nothing else.
Would it be exaggerating to say that you changed Spurs rather than the other way around? I mean, they adapted to you, and to Ricky, of course.
Spurs has to change, because, well, after saying that, Spurs always have a big tradition of how football should be played and so on, with Bill Nicholson and the double team, etc., etc. But at the time, Spurs have lost their way. But luckily, when when we arrived with Ricky, it was people like Glenn Hoddle, people like Steve Perryman. So these were the basis of the team. All the rest of the team, at the end of the day, changed. But when we arrived, Spurs were playing very much what I would call English style of football. That somehow it was not suited for Glenn or for me, for Ricky. So we did change it, yes.
You look back on your career. I asked you this question before, and I make no apologies for asking it again. And I heard you say that you'd give it all up for one more game.
Yes. Oh, yes. To play football was something incredibly nice. I would give everything to play just for 90 minutes more. Proper 90 minutes. I mean, going to White Hart Lane with my shirt was waiting for me, my boots were new boots, and so on. Proper game. Not with my friend, kind of fireside. No. Proper game. Because the adrenaline when you come into the game, especially White Hart Lane, or you go to Wembley as well, very special places, or you play for a national team as well. It was an incredible experience.
Like me, you're approaching 40 now. Do you have ambitions left in the game?
I want to manage again, to be perfectly honest. Maybe in England, maybe abroad. I may go back to Japan or maybe Argentina, I don't know. But to be perfectly honest, every time that I am managing a team, somehow I feel young and I feel alive and so on. When I do other things, I like it, but I'm not exactly what I wanted to do. So time will tell where I'm going to be, where I'm going to go, and what I will be doing.
Next year's World Cup, you've got to be there, and that's one of the great rivalries, is it not, Argentina and Brazil?
Oh yes, I think it's going to be a great World Cup. we are playing in a place that football is more than a question of life or death. It's a kind of religion. In Brazil, it's absolutely wonderful. The stadium are going to be great. Everything. As soon as you arrive in Brazil, you smell football. Everything is about football. Brazil is going to be they're going to be big favorites, of course, because they are playing at home. But I think I have one or two players that somehow can change things.
Well, you didn't list this in your ambitions, but I think we can arrange for you to do keepy-uppies with Tony Gale. You don't have to tell us how good that feels.
Well, Tony was a great player, to be honest. I mean, played for England and everything. Can't say more than that. If anything, I would say he was too nice as a player. You have seen him a lot more time than me. You support him, so here we are. But yes, in a lot of ways he was too nice to be a central defender at the time. Maybe he was playing now. It would be probably better suited for him.
Tony Gale, too nice. That's one of the exclusives that will be going out across Fleet Street and around the world's media. Thanks very much to Osvaldo, our dealers. More exclusives in part 2. And so, to the second half of the fixtures. Welcome back, by the way, to Off the Bar. We're joined by a world-class footballer, a betting expert, and Tony Gale. We'll start with you, Ozzy. Spurs against Newcastle United. You've got affection for both sides.
Yes.
How do you see it going?
Well, I think it's going to be a very good game, in fact. We beat Newcastle 5-0 the last time in White Hart Lane, so I mean, they're going to come prepared for that. But we are playing very well right now. So I'm going for Tottenham.
Well, I've got to say, Spurs are too short for me. They've only won 6 out of their 12 home games. They do struggle a little bit up front at home in terms of scoring goals. Newcastle have improved, although let's not go over the top with a victory against Villa and that one against Chelsea last week. But you can get Newcastle getting a goal head start, which means that even if they lose by 1, you get your money back. So that's the bet I'm going to have, Newcastle getting a goal head start.
I've got to go for a Spurs win, same as Oz. I think Spurs are in great form. They've got a great chance of finishing 4th this season. They can't have any sort of hiccups in games like this. Newcastle, OK, signed all the French boys. They come in, they've done well at the moment. I don't think they're going to be a match for Spurs.
I'm not a footballer or even a football person, so I need to ask you how Swansea might get on against Queen's Park Rangers.
Well, Swansea will win this one, I think, Matt. They had a bit of a blip last week against West Ham, but I think Laudrup will want them to get back on track. They've got this, Capital One final on their minds. There's no doubt about that. The first final they've been in, fans are going crazy up there. When I've been up there, the atmosphere's been terrific. Queen's Park Rangers, poor game last week. They should have won that game against Norwich. That was a must-win game. When he missed the penalty to Raps, you could see Harry's face. It was a picture, and it was lovely for me as well. But Queen's Park Rangers, I think, are doomed. I think they're going to go down, and it's got to be a Swansea win.
Yeah, I agree. QPR 2-1 on to go down. They're a big price in this one, but with Remy out, I can't see where the goals are going to come from. I think Swansea will win, but arguably a little bit too short for me.
OK, some form of optimism there. What about optimism for Southampton, who you should know a little bit about, or at least their manager, up against Manchester City?
Well, I know he's Argentinian. I don't know him personally, but of course I know of him. He had a very good season in Spain with Espanyol. It was a strange choice, to be perfectly honest, very, very strange. However, they have played 3 games under him right now, and they have been good. The last game against Manchester United was a very, very good game, in fact. In fact, they were a little bit unlucky not to have results. So, tough, very, very tough game for Manchester City. But after saying that, I believe that Manchester City, they have to challenge for the top spot. So I'm going for Manchester City.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. And speaking of Argentinians, you've got 3 of the best playing for City, and Zabaleta, arguably the best right back in the country at the moment. Southampton have improved, as Ozzy said, and they were unlucky against Wigan as well. But I think City will just have too much, though again, pretty sure. So there's better bets to be had.
Yeah, City win for me. I thought they was very poor last week against Liverpool. I think Liverpool, I don't like saying it, big Liverpool fan here, totally outplayed Manchester City. Played them off the park. Manchester City looked laboured. They didn't pass the ball quick enough. And why he didn't pick Tevez to start that game, I don't know. I think he'll bring him back this week because Dzeko was that bad, although he scored a goal. And Southampton, I think a draw would be a good result for him, so he may go all out defence. I'm going to go for a City win. They have to win if they want to win the Premier League.
OK, Villa against West Ham. I know what you're going to say, so you can just be quick.
Aston Villa to win. We have a serious problem away from home that is basically the point. And Aston Villa played very well the last game. They should have won. So I'm going for Aston Villa, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm afraid I can't have Villa, irrespective of what happened last week. We saw it after they beat Liverpool and then they went in free fall again. Don't like Villa at all. I'm no fan of West Ham, by the way. I think they're pretty dire.
Don't like anybody.
I do. Well, I like one or two, but I think, you know, West Ham at the price, you can almost get a shade of 2-1 with West Ham, and that would be the one for me.
Battle of the Claret and Blues, and I'm going to go against my club, West Ham here. I think, like Ozzy, I think Aston Villa have to win this game. And there were signs last week that there's a little bit more coming together for them. And the signs are good for Villa in this game because West Ham are so poor away from home. So I'm going to go for the Villa win.
Let's move you on quickly to the game of the weekend, Manchester United against Everton. This would be a scalp for David Moyes.
Well, I'm going up to Spurs Newcastle doing that Saturday, and then I'm travelling up to United Everton doing this one Sunday. I'm looking forward to this because I think Everton give the big teams a game every time they play. And they don't just defend, they have a go at them. That's what was the same score as escape to victory last season, 4-4. So we're not doing the quiz question on that one. But it was a magnificent game and it cost Manchester United the title that season. But United are just doing enough this season, just nicking 1-0s, 2-1s, and I believe they'll win by the odd goal this time.
I'm going with Tony on that one. Everton outstanding this season, but they've been conceding far too many. We saw them concede 3 last week against Villa, for goodness sakes. The difference between Man United last season and this is Robin van Persie. So United will win, but both teams will score. That's 2-1.
OK, last game we've got Liverpool against West Brom. Liverpool appears to be back to some sort of strength.
I'm going for Liverpool as well, yes. They're looking stronger and stronger. They have Luis Suarez up front, wonderful, wonderful players. So I think they are going to be, West Brom is going to be find it very, very difficult to cope, especially with him.
Yeah, I fancy Liverpool for obvious reasons, not just Suarez. West Brom, though, I think their season peaked around mid-November. I know they beat Liverpool on the opening day of the season. Role reversal this time around, Liverpool comfortably.
The only danger is West Brom might just be in the top half and haven't beaten the top half side, have they, Liverpool? No. But that was the best I've seen Liverpool play last week. But the fact is, and Ozzy will tell you, when you play well against the big sides, you've still got to win the game. And every time they play well against Manchester United, Manchester City, they never win the game. They'll be too strong for West Brom. And what Suarez does give them is the ability to change their system. He can play up top on his own, he can play right, he can play left, he can play behind the striker, and along with Van Persie, he's probably the best striker in the league.
We can't really talk anymore because we have to move on with our freestyling segment, which has become a regular on Off the Bar. Only this week it's On the Bar.
I'm Jeremy Lynch.
I'm Billy Wingrove.
And we are the F2.
This is Spectacular Crossbar.
Now you might be thinking to yourself, what is Spectacular Crossbar? Get the gist. Go on, just smash it. Hello? Listen to this. Yeah, I hit it.
That was amazing. They are just far too cool for us. You can see more of Jeremy and Billy on F2 Freestylers channel on YouTube. Please go and check it out. Okay, Alan, so last week you got 1 right.
Yeah.
What's your predictions for this week?
Well, as we said before, Manchester United against Everton, a cracking game on Sunday. I know Gailey's going up there. Manchester United score for fun. Everton concede too many but do score. I think both teams will score, but Man United to win, that pays around 2-1, babe. Then we've got the big game, Chelsea, I think, putting their troubles behind them at Stamford Bridge in this one. Wigan, hopeless, I think 40-something goals they've conceded. Chelsea to win comfortably, giving up a 1.5 goal head start on that one. And finally, I think the bookies have overreacted to Reading's recent resurgence. I think Stoke can win that one. The treble pays around 10-1, they're my three.
Okay, cheers. Tony, you got 2 right last week?
2 right, but not enough for the treble, unfortunately. But my treble, we're going to go for Spurs at 4-6 to beat Newcastle at home. It hurts me because I'm not a Spurs fan. I don't like Spurs, never have done. And Aston Villa to beat West Ham at home. Aston Villa to turn it around. Good draw last week. I think they'll turn it around against the West Ham, who are poor away from home. And another side who are poor away from home, Fulham, to lose at Norwich. I think Chris Hughton will want to and will target this game to get a result. So that's my treble, and that pays 8.5 to 1.
Okay. Ozzy, what are your top 3 predictions for this
Similar to Tony, I'm going for Tottenham beating Newcastle. Tottenham is having a very good time right now, very strong at home especially, so I'm going for Tottenham. The other one is the same, Aston Villa at home will beat West Ham. West Ham is having a bad time away from home, and Aston Villa, I believe, is absolutely crucial for them to win on this weekend. And the big one, I think, is Manchester United-Everton. I'm going for a draw, and this is going to be... that will make the money, really, because if that happens, it's going to be... Of course, Manchester United at home, they're big, big favourite, but I think Everton always provide them with very, very tough opposition, and they are very resilient. So I'm going for a draw, and that will make a very good bet.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thanks very much. So I didn't hear much because I was back there at the bar just washing a few glasses, but thank you very much. There's just one last job you have to do. Every week he refuses to do keepy uppies because he's got suede shoes or some rubbishy excuse, or he's only got one leg, which we both know about. So would you mind showing him how it's done outside?
I will show you, no problem.
Escape to Victory Part 2. And Marie, you're on.